Up next
On Your Pittsburgh, we're going fishing with Brett Keisel.
Real.
You know him from his football days, but now he's launched a business, sharing his love of the outdoors and what he learned as a Steeler.
I love having Team KDKA out here.
See what happens when Team KDKA gives it a try.
Way to go, man.
You wanted to know, so we're hitting the road, getting the scoop on some unusual roadside attractions.
We've heard his hit songs, and Pittsburgh's Donnie Iris is still making music. Paul Martino is hanging out with a rock and roll legend.
From the place that has people lining up for lunch to the online retailers opening stores here, we'll show you what's new in the Burgh.
And if you love barbecue, David and I have found the restaurant for you.
Oh, that's good.
From KDKA-TV, this is Your Pittsburgh with David Highfield and Susan Copen.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Your Pittsburgh. I'm David Highfield.
And I'm Susan Copen. We're coming to you tonight from beautiful Point State Park. Across the river behind us, Heinz Field, home of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And we're going to begin tonight by talking about someone who's best known for his time as a Steeler. We're talking about Brett Keisel. It turns out his life after football includes sharing what he's learned in a very, very cool way. So a group of us at KDKA decided to give it a try.
When Brett Keisel retired from football after 13 years as a Pittsburgh Steeler, he wasn't sure what he would do next. But he found the answer in the peace and quiet of places like this.
I was like, you know what? I love nature. Nature was what I used all the time playing football, dealing with anxiety, depression, which the NFL is packed with those things. This is how I got away. This is my therapy.
And this is where you really need to go to understand Brett Keisel. Being outdoors was part of his growing up.
It started for me when I was young, and my family would take me out, and that was how we bonded as a family.
And now he wants to share that experience with others, along with what it takes to be part of a successful team.
One of the reasons we were so good is because we were so tight.
So he's created Mighty Oak Adventures, where corporate teams can bond out in nature. And that's where our team from KDKA comes in. Rich Walsh, Lynn Hayes-Freeland, Ross Gadati, and I are going fly fishing with Brett, giving a Mighty Oak adventure a try. But some of us struggle just to get the waders on.
I'm not really an outdoors person.
We're meeting at a place called Home Waters outside Altoona, fishing in Spruce Creek, called the Stream of Presidents. Eisenhower and Carter both fished here.
Hopefully the fish are hungry because we're about to attack.
The water comes from a spring, so it's a constant temperature and perfect for trout.
Oh my gosh, there's some gators in there.
He just means big fish, not actual gators.
Like, look right here, you see this trout right there?
Yes.
See him?
Okay.
Look how big that fish is.
The trout are big, but before we can snag one, it's time for a little instruction from Brett and Home Waters coach, Joel Catalano.
Look at the size of the hook.
Yeah, it's tiny, right?
The bait, or fly, looks like this, made to imitate a water insect. And once a fish bites, you have to set the hook.
I don't know. There he is. Nice.
Yeah?
Okay, you look great.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready. Ready.
So with that, we begin casting our lines.
Hands off the reel. Hands off the reel.
Right away, I hook one, and Brett talks me through wearing the fish down.
Reel.
Reeling it in as it comes toward you, but also letting it swim out.
This is a big one, too.
Well done.
It takes skill, and sometimes the fish wins in a dramatic way.
Lost it.
That's like having a slap shot coming by your head, man.
Yes, Lynn. Awesome job.
Lynn snags one too.
Lynn, you are doing everything perfect.
We can see the fish in the water. Brett's ready with a net, but somehow
Oh, no.
it manages to slip away. Then she gets another bite.
You got this one.
They're stronger than you think they are, though.
But after a lengthy battle,
Oh, Yeah. Oh!
The fish don't give our veteran fisherman Ross a break either.
Yeah.
And it hurts when the big ones get away.
There he is.
I'm gonna catch a coal. That's about all.
Oh. There you go. All right.
Richie!
But it's Rich who turns our luck around.
Oh, I gotta get this.
He's never fished before,
Yeah!
Woo!
but he manages to catch his first fish.
Nice
It's
job,
a pretty
buddy.
nice one, isn't
Way
it?
to go, man.
He poses for a pic with a prize-worthy rainbow trout.
Atta boy, Rich!
My man.
Way to
Thanks,
go,
buddy.
brother! Good job.
Appreciate it.
And then returns it to the water.
There you go, buddy.
Not to be outdone, I get one on the line as well, a brown trout.
Hey, David, we don't lose to the Browns, okay? It's a brown trout.
It puts up quite a battle
That's a big fish, David. That's a good sized fish.
and takes off swimming upstream.
Holy cow! He's trying to swim to Johnstown.
And when I reel him back in, somehow my big fish has been swapped out for this little guy.
What is this?
Oh, wow!
I fought so hard.
Despite the size, still worth a photo. When it's over, Brett says we're like every group he takes on these adventures.
And they talk about the giant one that got away, or the one they landed, or the one that got off and a smaller one came and ate
Yeah,
it.
how does that
I
happen?
don't know. It's nature.
Most importantly, he says it's about getting out of the office, working as a team.
I talked to him about facing adversity, overcoming challenges, all those different things that we had to go through too when we were playing.
And of course, it's also the thrill of the big catch.
This is really cool. Felt like a champion because I caught a fish.
I loved it. It was great. I fished every kind of fishing. This is now my favorite.
There's something about the back and forth with the fish. I would absolutely do it again.
Team KDK was solid. They can go home with their heads held high.
I'm sorry I missed out on that one. That was a lot of fun.
We'll take you the next time.
Okay.
And what we didn't show you was afterwards, we had a chance to sit down and have a meal with Brett at Home Waters. Delicious. It was so cool just to sit down and talk with him.
And this is normally for corporate teams, right?
It is. Most of the time it's sort of a weekend retreat, and you can do more than fishing. You can go hunting or hiking, even biking. They do it at Home Waters. They also have them at Nemacolin, another beautiful location. And we have more information for you about Mighty Oak Adventures at KDKA.com/YourPittsburgh.
Fly fishing, would you do it again?
In a heartbeat. So much fun.
Still to come, secrets of the smoker. David and I get a sneak peek at how they do the barbecue at a cool local restaurant.
Plus, pull over for some roadside attractions you won't want to miss. We're going to show you some of the coolest things in our area that you can check out.
And a Pittsburgh rock and roll legend, Donnie Iris. Stay with us.
Welcome back to the Emmy Award-winning Your Pittsburgh, honored with 2 more Mid-Atlantic Emmy nominations this year.
Welcome back as we come to you from beautiful Point State Park. 2 online retailers have opened stores in our area.
Big changes at the airport.
And Pittsburgh is getting in on a culinary trend that's sweeping the nation.
Just some of the things that are happening as we check out what's new in the Burgh.
Some are calling it the nation's new favorite food, poke bowls. Pittsburgh Poke downtown brings the popular Hawaiian dish to the Burgh. It's a raw fish salad, often with tuna or salmon, but you can customize it any way you want.
If you feel like a smoothie to wash it down, you're in luck. The New Orleans-based juice bar Smoothie King has arrived in our area with locations in Collier and Wexford. The menu includes smoothies aimed at weight loss or boosting energy.
2 popular online retailers are beginning to open brick-and-mortar stores, and they both picked East Liberty for their first Pittsburgh locations. The menswear company Bonobos and the eyewear company Warby Parker have opened stores on Penn Avenue.
Speaking of shopping, people are taking advantage of new rules that allow them to go to Pittsburgh International's Air Mall. without having a ticket. It became the first airport in the nation to allow public access to gates and shops since 9/11.
But the biggest change at the airport will be a $1 billion plan to get rid of the landside building. New ticketing and baggage claim areas will be built next to the gates. The airport authority says no local tax dollars will be used, and it'll save costs, including $3 million a year it takes to run the train that connects the current buildings.
Finally, the nation's largest axe throwing facility is up and running in Millvale. Axe throwing, competitively or just for fun, is a trend that started in Canada and is spreading to cities all over. David even gave it a try.
Yes, yes.
You actually look like you knew what you were doing.
Thank you, I think. No, they give you instruction, and once you get the hang of it, it is a lot of fun. It's called Lumberjaxes, and we have more information for you at KDKA.com/YourPittsburgh.
Still to come, pack up the kids and hit the road for some of the most unusual roadside attractions in our area.
Plus, our newest restaurant visit. Susan and I check out a barbecue place that might have you licking your fingers.
Sometimes you just gotta.
And after the break, you know his big hits. We're hanging out with rock and roll legend Donnie Iris. Stay with us.
You're watching Your Pittsburgh on KDKA-TV with David Highfield and Susan Copen.
Welcome back. A kid from Elwood City has been singing, writing, and rocking hits for more than 60 years now.
At 74, Donnie Iris shows no signs of slowing down, and he's still selling out shows.
Our sometimes rock critic, Paul Martino, had a chance to sit down with Donnie, talk with him, and boy, he really does have a following.
He's amazing, still has his voice, can hit the high notes, can scream like few guys can in rock and roll, and one of the few Pittsburghers who ever wrote and recorded a chart-topping hit. But it's not just his musical talent, it's his personal charm that keeps the fans coming back again and again to see their Donnie. Donnie Iris is Pittsburgh's King Cool. It's been a long time since he had a hit like Love Is Like a Rock, but it doesn't matter to his adoring fans.
We love you, you know that.
Thank you, thank you. We love you too.
Born Dominic Irache in Elwood City, Donnie's been singing most of his life, inspired by his mother.
She played piano and sang, and she taught me a lot of songs, you know, when I was a kid. I was just little, maybe, 6 or 7 years old.
As a kid, he sang with Paul Whiteman's band and with his uncle's band, Curly Vanezzi. Later at Slippery Rock University, he formed Donnie and the Donnells, then the Jaggers. He started writing songs, and he scored a big hit. The rapper climbed to the top of the charts in 1970. What's it about?
If you saw a guy talking to a chick, you'd say, that guy's rapping to that chick over there.
Yeah. So, was Donnie Iris a good rapper? No, they call you King Cool. Was King Cool a pretty good rapper?
King Cool is not a good rapper.
No. Iris eventually left the Jaggers, joined the group Wild Cherry, and met keyboardist Mark Absek. A great songwriting partnership was born that endures today. Absek and Iris formed Donnie Iris and the Cruisers, headed to the studio, and had another hit.
We had a lot of fun putting together Aaliyah and the whole first record, and it's really a great thing that our band has endured all these years. It's one of the great treasures of our lives.
Aaliyah, a big hit in 1980, and in the age of MTV, you had to do a video. A beautiful model meets a nerdy Iris in Buddy Holly glasses. Holly was a big nerd.
He was as nerdy as it gets. He was just a nerdy little kid that could just play.
But Donnie's no nerd. Once a month, you'll find him hanging out with fans at Jurgle's Rhythm Grill.
We sometimes party together. Sometimes we smoke cigars together.
He can even charm a crusty old news guy.
My boy right here, my boy Paul.
You are the man. You are the man, Don. Iris still performs about a dozen energized shows every year. How much longer will he do it?
Until they stop coming, Paul, until I just can't anymore.
Well, I hope it's for quite a while yet, my friend.
Thank you, brother.
Donnie says he got one great piece of advice from his manager, Joe Rock, and that is keep the publishing rights. That means every 3 months, he gets a royalty check in the mail for his hits. They're still paying off. By the way, the Jaggers, they're still together. Every once in a while, Donnie gets back on stage with them, guys.
And he has a concert that's coming up.
Yeah, well, he's doing 2 nights, actually, in December, the 22nd and 23rd at the Hard Rock in Cleveland. He's got a big following there.
You know, Aaliyah just sticks in my head. I can't get it out of my head.
Yeah, it's a great song.
It's a great song. Yeah. Great stuff. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
All right, Paul, thanks so much. And now it's time to answer your questions. We call this You Wanted to Know.
Last time we asked, do you want to know about some of the most ambitious plans for Pittsburgh that never happened? Like building a stadium over the Mon River? What could the city have looked like?
Or do you want us to hit the road in search of some of the coolest roadside attractions in our area?
Well, the votes are in, and 73% of you said, check out the roadside attractions. And it turns out there's some fascinating stuff to see. About an hour and a half north of Pittsburgh, there's an unusual flower garden just outside Meadville. Look closely. These flowers are actually made of old PennDOT road signs. Maybe more impressive, a nearby fence that's been transformed into a beautiful mural. It's the work of Allegheny College art students as well as PennDOT employees. The mural covers up a chain-link fence around the PennDOT property, and they tried to pick items that represent things in the community, like this Ferris wheel that actually moves. Drive down Route 422 near Katanning, and he's hard to miss. A 31-foot-tall cowboy named Sam, holding a hamburger, standing next to the Cadet restaurant.
It was a good investment. They stop and they take pictures of him. Never a day goes by that somebody's not taking a picture of Sam.
It was back in the 50s when Cadet owner George Morta bought Sam at a restaurant show in Chicago. At the time, customers drove up to speakers to place orders, and car hops brought out the food. That's all changed now, except for Sam, who still stands tall. If you're driving through Saxonburg, you can check out the mini Brooklyn Bridge. Turns out one of the town's founders, John Roebling, designed the actual Brooklyn Bridge. Not far away, also in Butler County, the flying saucer in the town of Mars. Evidence people here like to have a little fun with the name. Next stop, Chester, West Virginia, home of the world's largest teapot. 14 feet tall, 14 feet wide. It used to be a big barrel to advertise root beer, but was brought to Chester in the 30s and transformed into a teapot to promote the town's pottery industry. While we visited, construction workers had some fun playing I'm a Little Teapot.
Oh, I told her, no, I'm going to kill her because now it's stuck in my head. You know what I mean?
Yes, we do. The teapot has been restored twice, and Chester even celebrates annual Teapot Days. Our last stop is Pymatuning State Park, where you can pull over to see something pretty incredible.
This is the famous Pymatuning Spillway, where all the carp gather.
People come from all over to feed bread to thousands of carp that started appearing here after the dam was built. No one's sure exactly how many there are.
Carp are naturally attracted to the spillway bowl where the water rushes over. There's food, oxygen, they like it there. So it's always a natural attraction point.
And he says it's no fishtail. The carp are so densely packed that ducks have been seen walking across them. Jane Colonna of Economy brought her grandchildren, Annabelle and Daniel, to feed the fish.
Well, my grandchildren were eating more bread than feeding the ducks and the fish, but no, it's great. Everybody should come out and see this.
400,000 people see it each year, and Daniel seems sad to leave.
If you feel like checking out some of the spots, we have a list for you at kdka.com/yourpittsburgh. Still to come, our favorite assignment. It's time to eat.
Susan and I are checking out a place in Ross Township that's become a hot spot for barbecue. Stay with us.
Contact us on Facebook or Twitter. We want to know what you want to see. After all, our show is called
Your Pittsburgh.
Your Pittsburgh. Your Pittsburgh.
Your Pittsburgh.
Your Pittsburgh.
Your Pittsburgh.
Your Pittsburgh.
Your Pittsburgh.
Your Pittsburgh.
Welcome back as we join you from Point State Park in front of the gorgeous fountain. Well, this is when we visit an exceptional restaurant. Wheelfish has live music and cool cocktails, but it's really about the barbecue.
It's located in Ross Township, but the owners like to say the meat has a Memphis vibe. Wheelfish is about good times and great food. Barnwood on the walls gives it a rustic feel, and the chef says that describes the menu too.
It's all very rustic, basic barbecue, a lot of Memphis style.
Cheers.
Cheers. David and I start with some delicious cocktails.
Oh, that's yummy.
Then platters of brisket, ribs, and chicken wings arrive. So impressive, we have to snap a picture before we dig in.
I feel like I'm getting in touch with my inner caveman.
There's no pretty and dainty way to eat ribs. You just have to go for it. And there are delicious sauces, including one called Cowboy. Spicy. The secret to this barbecue is the smoky flavor. So we get a peek at the smoker. Chef Matt smokes the brisket up to 24 hours, ribs up to 7.
Ribs on the bottom, that's the eggplant on the top.
And they use cherry wood chips from trees on the property. Let's not leave out the sides, Napa slaw, pork and beans, and mac and cheese that's to die for.
Oh, that's good. I know.
Wow. And we end with some live music.
This could be my cannonball.
And Leona's ice cream sandwiches made in the Berg. Delicious ending. One word of caution, this is a multiple napkin restaurant.
Although every restaurant is a multiple napkin restaurant for me. Again, it's called Wheelfish, and the name comes from a bedtime story that one of the owner's granddads used to tell. Wheelfish was a character.
And we have more about Wheelfish at KDKA.com/YourPittsburgh.
Well, we invite you to join us on Facebook as soon as this show ends.
We'll be talking live about tonight's program. Just go to the Your Pittsburgh Facebook page and join in on the conversation.
And that's going to do it for this episode. From all of us here, thanks for watching.
And from beautiful Point State Park, good night, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.